We are continuing to respond to the breaking news that Hamas released 2 U.S. hostages, quote, for humanitarian reasons. Of course, we are still waiting on confirmation from U.S. and Israeli officials on this. Joining me now, though, is Rick Smith, former U.S. Marine and hostage negotiator. Rick, thank you so much for being with us. Obviously, there is so much yet that we have to learn on this. If these alleged hostages were released, if they are in fact American, talk about the strategy there, if this is true.
Thank you, Nichole, for having me on. I want to circle back to what you said originally. They were released for humanitarian purposes. Certainly that could be the case, but we have to understand in my 16 years of negotiating and the type of personalities that we're dealing with these terrorist organizations such as Hamas are antisocial. Antisocial personalities, if they're going to make a concession, if they are going to release somebody, they are doing it to gain something. And so we have to look at what's transpiring today, right? So today we're learning that Israel has got the green light to go and cross the border into Gaza, and we're seeing more American involvement with drone attacks. In my opinion, I think Hamas is doing this gesture to try to slow things down so they can pivot and figure out what is next or what is the best move of their play. Because I do believe that right now Hamas is feeling the pressure and they're trying to slow things down. That's based off my experience.
So right, exactly, because, saying that it is for humanitarian reasons, of course, we are talking about a terrorist organization. So much of this is about strategy. So much of this is about propaganda. What do you think about the timing of this?
I think the timing is very interesting, just to my earlier point. Why do they do it today? What changed? So when people make a concession, someone especially who's holding hostages, they're looking for a return of reciprocity. So in their belief, they believe if we do something, especially for America, it was very, I'm certainly glad it was Americans that were released, a mom and her daughter. But if we release American hostages, does that give us some grace with America? Does it also give the folks that are in the streets protesting more ammunition to come against kind of the response that we're seeing in the Middle East right now? So I think, honestly, they're doing it for their own personal gain. I'm so glad that the mom and her daughter have been released, but I think we need to pause and make sure we unpack every probability. And does it change what we should be doing? I don't think so. I don't think it does.
And Rick, exactly. I mean, there's so much that we have to learn about this. And again, you have to remain skeptical because it's so hard to wade through what is true, what is not true. If this is true, what is potentially going to be expected from Hamas, particularly if they are releasing American hostages? Because it's so important to focus in on that.
So we first have to have negotiations, right? And it's our policy that we don't negotiate with terrorists. It's Israel's policy they don't negotiate with terrorists. But I promise you, there are negotiators through non-governmental organizations that work in these international environments that will reach out. They will have communication. They will have dialogue. And if Hamas is really, truly looking for a humanitarian solution, then I would think the next step on our part would be introducing some of these international negotiators into the conversation and basically acknowledge, hey, we appreciate you releasing these 2 hostages. Acknowledge that. Okay, what's next? Let's have a conversation. How do we get the rest of the hostages out if they're really doing it for humanitarian purposes? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And exactly, because if it's for humanitarian purposes, but we look at how those hostages were even taken in the first place. We look at the circumstances surrounding so many people who weren't even able to be taken hostage because they were killed brutally. What is the strategy when it comes to negotiating with terrorists? What does that dialogue even look like?
So it's totally different than domestic negotiations, right? The first challenge, as Andy talked about, is we don't geographically know where they're at, right? And it's hard to negotiate with understanding that we always have the power to do a hostage rescue, which is a very, very dynamic event, very dangerous for everybody involved. But if we don't know where they're at, we don't really have that ability to use force at our discretion. So it really is a dialogue. It is basically when we deal with narcissistic, antisocial personalities, It's a contract negotiation. It's just like you were negotiating for a better interest rate on your house. You know, what is good for them? What do they get out of it? What is the benefit that Hamas will receive by releasing more hostages? And that's what the conversation is about. And that's what Hamas wants to understand is what can they get, bottom line, by releasing hostages? And I believe the first release of the mother and her daughter was just merely, let's just slow things down for a minute and let's figure out where we're at and pivot as necessary.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.